This is just to give you an idea of license versus the SaaS. So the way license work is there is a one-time large license that you pay, and then there is an implementation charge that also goes along. Generally the way it works is implementation is almost like a 0 to maybe 10% margin, whereas license is like a pure margin because it's just you are saying you have the right to use my software for 5 years. And then you have like a maintenance revenue, which is sort of somewhere around 20% of the license cost, and you earn that over the next 5 year or so, which again comes at a very high margin, versus SaaS, which is there is no license, so there is no upfront, and all you do is you earn a subscription revenue, and that subscription revenue also builds with you some sort of a usage. So as they build up volumes, or generally, it's linked to volumes. Or SaaS also has their different business models. Within SaaS, you can have monthly subscription, and then it can be linked to transactions, or even it's sort of a combination of both, that there is a minimum and then it's linked to some sort of a usage. So they're different. But the way SaaS works is that ideally the NPV of SaaS is higher than the NPV of a license and maintenance kind of a uh, business model. So we do see a lot of market is moving towards SaaS. What Intellect has maintained is we will do whatever the client wants, basically. But if you notice recently, then you're seeing SaaS has grown almost close to 100%, whereas licenses not grown as much. Uh,
Nandan,
so
before we move ahead, let's take a break for some few
sure, sure,
questions.
sure.
Okay, so I have one question since we're discussing about SaaS right now. So Intellect isn't a pure play SaaS player, right? So
Yes,
when
it's
they
not.
report SaaS revenue, so they don't, I think, classify what percentage of product consumed is pure play SaaS, that is without customization, and what is typical share of customization.
Right.
Do you have any idea on that?
No, that would be, sort of too difficult to know. And see, in somewhere there would be some sort of customization when it comes to uh, SaaS of Intellect, right? So if you're looking at SaaS of, let's say, a small ticket value SaaS, such as, let's say, SME CRM, or, even Microsoft Excel, or Microsoft products, that we know is there is no customization, right? It's the same product that goes to everyone. But of course, if you are in a geography which has different regulation, there will always be some customization that happens, right? So that is almost impossible to know. I don't know if they've, as far as I'm aware, they've not uh, declared that. But their SaaS revenue is linked to certain products right now. So historically, iGTB has not been SaaS, but now they have won a few deals which are SaaS, and they've created a platform also which is based on SaaS. So basically, essentially, they earn some way on the movement of money, basically. Um, in iGCB, a credit card product or a BNPL product, there is a SaaS component which you can add, right? But again, if it's a credit card in Germany versus a credit card in India, there is bound to be some customization that is involved in it. So it would not be, uh, you know, but I don't see that as a hindrance in any way, I would say.
Thanks, Nandan. So speaking about platforms, as you talked about, so how does, according to you, management foresee the platform improvements and the associated impact on revenues due to that?
So I'll come to platforms a little ahead. So the
Okay, so
idea,
we'll take. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. If you're saying something, please go ahead.
yeah. So we look at platforms. So basically, they've sort of created these three platforms. The platforms today are not, from my understanding, meaningful contributors today. They are still in the phase of implementing platforms. What a platform basically tries to do is, in some sense, provide some sort of an ecosystem, right? So one of the first platforms that they have talked about is iTurmeric. So what is the point of iTurmeric platform is to have the banks the ability to use their legacy software, right? So, use their core banking software. They don't want to, because every year they don't want to switch to core banking, right? And they've invested a lot of money in that core banking software 5 years back or 10 years back. So they want to continue using, and they've obviously hired a lot of employees on how to run the core banking. So they want to use that core banking, but on top of that, they want to have the newest pieces of software, right? So iTurmeric is a platform which helps them integrate whatever the newest microservices or APIs that they want to use with their core banking, right? So that's a platform, it's a layer that you create which interacts with the front end and the back end, right? So that is one thing that they are done. The other thing that they're doing is, trying to create a platform in IGTB. They're trying to create a platform in insurance in iSeek that, it tries to do everything. So these are early days for platform. It's become a cool word. It is still today very early. So we just take it with a grain of salt and see what happens with it. That's all.
Do you see, as in when such platforms improvisation kicks in, how much percentage spend on R&D is estimated to grow from what it is today? Any ballpark number you would like to guess, or any guidance from the management on that front?
I think in general, actually, if you see, in the last few years, R&D has not significantly moved up, in the sense that revenue has moved up, but R&D numbers have sort of remained similar. Now, R&D is also two types. One is that one part is what is getting expensed, and one part is what is getting capitalized. Now, if you look at the capitalized R&D, every I think quarter around 28-30 crores is getting capitalized. Every year around 120 crore or so gets capitalized. And I think if you look at depreciation, is also, I think if I'm not mistaken, around the same ballpark. So for the most part, I think the capitalization and depreciation or amortization is kind of matching each out. I think they take around 35 crores through the P&L every quarter in R&D. In that has actually inched up slightly, but not so much. It was at 1.30 crores, then it kind of came down, then it kind of inched up. And the reason was, in between they needed to do a little more of R&D to shift some of the products to being cloud ready. So they needed to spend a little more money in FY I think 20 and or so. So they their expenses in R&D had, I think, jumped up, then they reduced, now they are going back up again. But for the most part, if R&D increases, I don't think it will disproportionately increase, in the sense that suddenly you would have an issue that either too much of R&D is getting expensed or too much of it is getting capitalized. That I don't see, because essentially what they're doing is they already have these products. They are just providing a service which makes it easy for the clients to use products or customize the products, and putting it all together and calling it a platform, right? So uh, it's not it's not I could be wrong on this. I'm not so well versed on technically how you qualify that as R&D, and how much expense will be related to it. But the sense you get is this is not going to be substantially expensive. Now the partnership with Microsoft that they've announced, for sure they will need to spend more money on it, right? Because that is a huge opportunity. So you will need to spend money on both, in terms of making sure that your product runs on Azure and seamlessly, and if any sales and marketing also expenditure needs to be incurred along with that. So those are good things. Those are good expenses.
Thanks, Nandan. So anybody else has any question or shall we move ahead?